switch to new internet. See what we can make happen. Oh, it says we're now live again. Oh.
Forwarded to an automatic voice message.
All right. We are, we got some issues there. Hold on a second. This is not good. The Southern Studio internet just is, we got good internet down. I think it's too much heat. I don't know, I'm just saying. Let's see if we can get this going. I'm assuming we're still broadcasting. I think we're still broadcasting. If we are. Maybe it's Joe's internet.
Call has been forwarded to an automatic.
All right. So, okay. While we work that, Toby, I'm gonna let you talk a little bit while I try to work up Joe and see what we can do. And we got no shortage of topics to talk about.
So one of the things that I kind of want to bring up, because it's been circling around in social media, it's been circling around in news, and it's kind of a hot button topic. And I have like my take on it, and so I want to talk about the young soldier that was involved in the El Paso shooting. So there's a young soldier that got an ARCOM for working and helping children evacuate the mall next door to where the shooting is. And this is a really interesting subject matter because the service member got recommended and identified by his chain of command to receive an ARCOM, which is the Army Commendation Medal, which is no slouch of a medal, actually. No slouch of a medal at all. And there's a bit of a hubbub within the community because they feel like this soldier should get a much higher award.
In fact, you brought that up.
In fact, they feel that this service member should get the award that is the highest award that you could get in peacetime within the service of the Army, and that's called the Soldier's Medal. And that is where a soldier risks life, limb, or eyesight and potential, death, right? Life,
outside
limb,
of combat.
Outside of combat. And I've seen a couple of these awards be awarded throughout my career and throughout my life, some of which, being rushing into a burning building, retrieving children out of a burning building. Car accidents where the car's on fire and, the soldier going into the car, cutting the seatbelts, getting burned horrifically on his hands and arms.
I think a soldier got one for remember the new train up in Washington?
Yes. The train that went off the bridge on I-5 going into JBLM. Yes, absolutely. So this is a really sensitive subject matter because now you have this media hot button topic where you have this gun incident, the shooting in El Paso, a horrific incident, a horrific domestic terrorist attack. It was a hate-filled piece of shit. And you got this soldier that's nearby, identifies that something bad is happening nearby, and does the right thing by grabbing up the kids, like shepherding up the children that are nearby that are hiding in this Foot Locker in this mall, and then shepherding them to safety and ensuring that they find their way to safety. Cool act, good for him. Army Commendation Medal awarded as an impact. And I'm like,
and I thought the same thing.
And I'm like, I'm about to piss some people off. I'm about to piss some people off because I'm like, oh, that's a little too strong. If you were a soldier of mine and you were nearby anything that happens, I believe that it is your duty to react and act appropriately, and that is to protect the innocent and do your job. You wear that uniform because you've chosen to put a fabric of leadership, onto your body. And so I believe that the Army Commendation is a fitting award. He does not, in my opinion, deserve. Now, I wasn't there, and so like I take this with a grain of salt, but by reading the reports and understanding to include his own testimony that I've read, I do not believe that he is deserving of the Soldier Medal.
Oh, really?
Yes.
That's interesting. I would not have guessed that. I think that's what he is. If anything, he's only qualified for that. I don't think the ARCOM is the appropriate recognition for what he did.
All right,
I've seen a mess daddy get an ARCOM because he had the cleanest, mess hall.
Right. ARCOMs are handed out in unique ways.
Right.
I would like to hear your justification, because he was not in direct fire. He did not rush into direct fire. He was not within the immediate vicinity of direct fire. All he did was do the right thing and make sure children that were panicking and scared at a very traumatic moment were directed to safety. But he, in no way, while there's a perceived danger, there was not an actual danger.
Yep.
So I would challenge you, as a man that's written a lot of awards, I challenge you to defend your position for the Soldier Medal.
Point, counterpoint.
Yeah.
You don't see it that often. No. The reason I say it is, one, he didn't know. He pulled it. He had a pistol, concealed carry pistol on him. He pulled it out and went towards the fire. Right? He ran to the gunfire.
Yep.
Okay? To say that he doesn't deserve the same recognition as if he got to the shooter, which no one knew who the shooter was. It was in a mall. Somehow there were 3,000 people in a Walmart in Texas. No one had a gun. I still call BS on that. But one, how's just 3,000 people in a Walmart?
There were 12 law enforcement officers also within that Walmart.
Yeah.
So we continue.
Anyways, so but how does that many people in Texas don't have guns? But he ran towards it with full intent to suppress the threat and handle it, right? The same way that the firefighters that were up only on the first or second level going up a building, they may not have been the top, they may not have even grabbed anybody. They may have been out in the parking lot, were running. They went with the full intent and with no fear and with selfless heart. Now, I know it's I'm jumping back to an event in the past, but hear me out. You asked me to say.
Yep.
But he went there not saying, hey, I'm just going to go grab some kids. He went there with I pulled my concealed carry, I hear shooting, I'm going to go get rid of the threat. And on his way, realizing, I don't know where, at the point, he was heading towards the Walmart, or where he heard the shooting, maybe he didn't know. He came across all these children, and he paused, and we don't know, did the shooting stop or whatever, but he saw the kids, and he immediately shifted his focus to let me get these innocent young children out of the way first, right?
100% commendable.
So, I think he was willing and was on the way to, and had he been in a different position, maybe had he been to Walmart, he was going to go in there and suppress that threat regardless, right? And he didn't, by a soldier, we would expect, because we have a jaded view of being soldiers ourselves, that they should step up and do that. But there's no requirement, yet there is no contractual obligation. There's nothing to say, because you raised your right hand to do a job that you willingly did, do you have to go do this?
All right, so let me share a true Toby Nunn story.
Okay.
There was, now when I say Toby Nunn, let me say a true Tomahawk story.
Okay. You want to call Joe back?
Yeah, let's call Joe back.
You want me to call him back now, or we go through the story?
We'll hammer through the story fast while you're calling. There he is.
He's coming into us. Hold on, let me bring on his video here.
Joe, there you are, buddy.
All right, man.
All right. A little bit better. Definitely hear you a lot better.
Oh, hold on, I got
awesome. Yeah, I see you guys much clearer now and hear the feed smooth.
Okay.
All right, so
had to jump on the secondary Wi-Fi access here.
See,
we did the same thing. We thought it was us. It's glad to know it was your fault.
Yeah, totally happy that it's on you. No, Joe,
absolutely.
We're bear with us really quickly while we're hammering through this thought. But in fact,
I'd like to
hear your input on this as well. We're talking about the young soldier out of El Paso right now that got an ARCOM versus what people are calling for a soldier medal for his actions in the shooting at the El Paso Walmart. We have a little bit of a debate discussion going on because the criteria for the soldier medal is quite strict, and the criteria for the ARCOM is quite lenient, as it only requires four achievement bullets. One that can be all four that can be supplemental or complementary of the event.
Sure.
For to have a singularity achievement narrative, and to receive the soldier's medal, like the highest award that a soldier can get in peacetime. I just don't believe it meets the criteria. What Troy's saying is his intent. He ran in towards the gunfire. His intent, his willingness to help save the kids and direct them to safety. Well, I think that's commendable. I think that's an achievement bullet. I don't think that warrants and dictates the narrative of a higher valorous award. While it is valorous, it's not unheralded gallantry.
But that's not the description of a soldier's medal, I don't think, is it? It's been a while, but I don't think that's considered in the description of a soldier's medal.
To risk life, limb, eyesight.
Yeah. And he was willing to do that.
He was willing.
And he went to do it. Yeah.
But everyone that raises the right hand, everybody that raises the right hand is willing to do it.
Right.
Sure.
Yeah. So there's my argument. I'm the asshole, and I'm ready to hear everyone's points. And go.
All right. Well, I would say, the example I think that most often comes to mind regarding the soldier's medal is somebody, because it is a stateside type situation, is like you hear a vehicle overturns on the highway and ends up in the water, and a soldier jumps in and pulls the victim out of the car and saves their life, and they go, "Oh, soldier's medal."
Saves their lives.
Well, so I don't know whether this, I don't know the inside story of this gentleman, but did his actions save lives? Did he prevent them from entering the field of fire, harm's way? What was his exact role in that? And could it be that? So I guess you get into the nuances of what his actions were and whether he'd be deserving of that. But on the other case, I'd say that the medal debate, as everybody who's been downrange and had a tour where you see an undeserving staff officer get a Bronze Star medal for participation, and or any other things where you go, oh well, there's not supposed to be a rank requirement, but we know that a lot of awards seem to be given out at the end of a tour based on rank. Like, E5 and below gets an ARCOM, E6 and above gets this,
right.
The officers all get this. So, I guess it just depends, and it's not consistent from unit to unit. Because you talk to somebody like, oh, really? I didn't get a Bronze Star for that. Oh, you got a Bronze Star for that? Or, oh, wow, So I tend to, being out now, I tend to be more generous in my opinion and say, you know what? If dude put himself in harm's way and did hero shit, give him a soldier's medal, because that's going to be a worthy recognition of his actions and be great for him. And hopefully he stays in and does 20 plus years and is an example to others. And it's a story we can tell as an army and as a population, and say, this is an example of the selfless service and living the Army values. And hopefully you all, young Huas, go out and live a great life and do great things like this hero did.
Dude,
absolutely love that.
Yeah,
love that.
Yeah, and the I guess the difference in us is that, or at least Toby and I, is that he drew his weapon and was running towards the gunfire. As much as any other cop or fireman run towards the threat, even if the threat gets suppressed or they get directed to something else, then they were on the way to go do it. And whether he got into a direct gun battle with the guy or whatever, he saw 4 or 5 kids, grabbed them up. I don't know how, because he's not a big dude himself, but he had like 4 or 5 kids in his arm. Hopefully he resecured his weapon, but and then ran out with them to get them out of what he probably perceived as the threat area, which was, he saw a chance to save lives right away, and he did. Hindsight being 20/20, maybe after the fact they realized, hey, the dude's in Walmart, or he wasn't even in there. I thought he was in the Foot Locker. Who knows? So,
sure.
If anything, the ARCOM to me though is not the right medal at all. It does not. An Army Commendation Medal is for something you do. The reason why the Soldier's Medal is so special and why it's the highest one is it doesn't have to be on duty. You don't even have to be in uniform. It just that's the medal for, hey, you're a soldier. and you stepped up and did something you didn't have to do, regardless of the situation or context. Where in our com is, hey, you got, your freaking platoon did top on the lanes, and you led your guys, and you did this or you did whatever. The Army's commending you for going above and doing extra grade on whatever the activity was. Hopefully, is what it was. But that's why I don't think it's deserved at all. So to me, it would be a soldier's medal or nothing.
Yeah. So, well, I appreciate your position. I got to tell you, I really enjoyed your sentiment earlier about the inspiration of what it is for those to follow behind and for those that serve beside. I was never a fan of putting things on my uniform. In fact, I absolutely hated putting things on my uniform. Not because I'm cheap and I didn't want things stitched or I didn't want to have to buy badges and stuff like that. I didn't think it was necessary. And I remember, a guy who was probably one of the best senior NCOs I ever served with in my entire career, tell me, like, hey, Toby, you need to, like, put your own personal ego or humbleness aside and just understand, like, that badge, that EIB, isn't for you. It's for the guys around you to know that you're the expert in your field. They're to know that you're the standard bearer. And I took heart to that. And, so, like, I started wearing an EIB because I wanted the guys around me to know that, yes, I was the expert in my field. I was that. But, like, it wasn't, to, like, prop myself up. I didn't care if I had wings or I didn't care if I had different badges. I really didn't care, because to me that it wasn't about putting something on my uniform. It was about being good at my job. But demonstrating and for people to see that you're good at your job is good. And I kind of felt the same way. I feel the same way about awards. And maybe I'm jaded, and maybe I'm like, and because the award thing is I appreciate what you're saying, because people get ARCOMs for BS.
Yeah.
And but I'm also trying to stick to the integrity of the award and be like, what's appropriate.
Hey, a lot of times on those EIB lanes, when I gave that second no-go, I was like, that's why they call it an EIB, not a free IB.
Yeah.
Head back to the tent, Jack.
Badge protector. Total badge protector.
Right.
But anyway, we're not here to talk about awards. We're here to talk about cool cufflinks. We're here to talk about cool cufflinks. Awesome,
Absolutely.
Hey,
So I want to get back to where we started. We were trying to get connectivity, and there's three of you guys that founded this company, and I would like, all of you guys are vets. I know that, and anyone that's went and checked out your site knows that. But kind of give us the story. You started to tell us, hey, you were in the business world, that you couldn't wear, high speed and listen 9 fight company shirts, nothing like that.
Yep.
But
right.
You wanted, and it was more than just an American flag, which a lot of people put on. Many of our politicians put on it. I don't even think they believe in sometimes. But what drew you to say, let's do the flag going forward? Let's flip it around. Let's start that conversation. I guess what got you guys sitting around somewhere to come up with that?
Yeah, so I think the reverse American flag, the way we wore it on our shoulder sleeve in combat, especially in the subdued antique silver and black finish that we put it in. It's a totally relatable to our fellow veterans and folks that have worn that on their uniform, and they get it. And so it's a connection that way. Like when you see a veteran, like they get it. And when you see a civilian that doesn't maybe understand it, it's a really interesting opportunity when they ask you, why is it backwards? Or I've had people come up to me and say, I know it's not backwards, but what does it mean when it's facing that way? And it's a really easy conversation. Well, it's the way I wore it on my shoulder, on my uniform in combat. And, I'm a veteran, or, I served in the military. And it's really an interesting way to start, because everybody has a story. I don't think people that are curious enough to ask about it don't have a relationship or have some understanding. So they say, oh, well, that's cool. I was, my brother was in the military, or my son's in right now. I'm a business traveler, so I'm flying all the time. So as I'm going through airports wearing it, people all ask, and you have conversations with folks about when they were in. Just like they see the first cap sticker on my suitcase or something, they're like, "Oh, Fort Hood, huh?" It's like, "Yes, sir."
First team.
I was in in Vietnam, first cab, or this or that. So
who are you with in first cab?
Yeah, who are you with in first cab?
Who are you with in first cab?
I was with the 282 FA.
All right, man. No, like I was in 15 cab back in the day. Back in the day.
I was 25.
And 282, man. Like they were our support, man.
Yeah,
like you guys threw you like high angle hell came from y'all, man. Like
No, that's Mortis.
Death Rain.
That's Mortis. We're high and go hell. 11 Charlies.
Death Rain.
That's
Death Rain.
Charlie's, yeah.
Death Rain. Death Rain.
King of Battle, Queen of Battle,
Oh,
Artillery, Red Legs.
Check
you know,
check
all that
yourself.
stuff. Yeah. All right. Cool. Yeah, I was 1-8 Cav and 2-5 Cav. First and second brigade.
Yeah.
Oh,
So,
Black Knight.
I had the fun time to start out at upstate New York at Fort Jerome, the 10th Mountain.
Oh, look at that 10th Mountain.
Oh,
climb the door.
Here we go. Here we go.
So we're gonna ask this now. Who are you with in 10th Mountain?
I got to go light to heavy, which is a interesting thing as an artilleryman.
I went from
105 pop guns to the Paladins.
Who are you with in? Oh, you were artillery unit up there then, I guess too, right?
Yeah. Well, my first year and a half there, I was with 287 Infantry as a fire support officer.
Catamount.
Oh,
Catamount.
There it is.
Yeah.
There it is. He's our people.
Catamount.
Yeah, I got my 10th Mount Combat Pass. Battalion Commander at Catamount. That's right.
Yeah. So I was with Catamounts. Did a tour in Afghanistan with them.
When was that?
And then when was that?
Yeah.
That would have been
Don't say 06.
203.
Okay, the first time they
man,
went.
we almost had like a brother.
reunion.
We almost had a bro moment.
Yeah.
There was gonna be some chest bumping.
Pretty early. I was at. Yeah, I guess I was. Gosh, when was that? It was. I guess that was 03, 04, something like that. Pretty early on.
First time they went over, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, it was OEF4 was the deployment, but it was good times there. So I had the opportunity to go from light to heavy in my career, which is interesting. But so that symbol of service though, and how do we share the story of our service? How do we connect with our fellow veterans? How do we start the conversation to bridge that civilian military divide that exists in our country? How do we tell that story of our generation, the post 9/11 generation of veterans, and get them to open up? And then, the beautiful part of the veteran community is connecting across generations. I sit at my local American Legion post on a bar stool, and the guy next to me is a Korean veteran, the guy next to him is a World War II veteran, and we swap stories, all day long, just the same. And branch of service, our service to our nation, it crosses all those boundaries you have when you're on active duty. Like, oh, I'm Army, he's Marines. We can't be cool. It's like once you get out, you find out, hey, the veteran community is a pretty small one. It's a pretty tight one. It's cross-generational. It's cross branches of service. True. It's cross eras of conflict. And all of that comes together. And that's what we're trying to do with Assault Forward is help veterans open up and empower them to share the story of their service. They have a conversation starter. And so it started with that reverse lapel pin. My partners, Shah and Josh, two other Army veterans, they thought there was a business there. I told them it was stupid, even though it was my idea for the pin, but I said that's stupid.
I'm that guy.
I was like, there's no business, like selling a lapel pin is not a business. That's just like a hobby. And they're like, no, we think, this is something we're probably going to do it. You should probably do it with us. So I was like, all right, let's do it. They somehow convinced me over a few beers at the American Legion. And then we launched our website with that single product. We launched the website with just the lapel pin. And we sold them and kept selling them. And we're like, well, I guess, a lot of people say, if you have the idea for the next Uber, great, go for it. Right. If you don't have the next Uber in your mind, what's a problem that you're trying to solve for yourself? Because if you solve it for yourself, chances are somebody else, thousands of people might be into that too. And I think we kind of fit that. I was looking just for a way to share the story of my service in a professional environment with a suit and tie on, and some other veterans came along. And it's funny too, because now we see a lot of guys, they buy them and put them on their hats. They're like, hey, I love your pin. I love the story that it's an American-made product. 100% of our products are American-made. We're trying to do it the right way. So, and we're still a small business, 100% veteran-owned and operated. So it's like, oh, okay, made in America, supporting veterans. Yeah, I like your pin better than what I'm going to find on eBay or Amazon that's made in China. So yeah, let me get one of those. And they'll put it on their hat. They'll put it on their credentials lanyard if they're working in a secure building, where they got to wear those credential lanyards or other things like that. So it's like, okay, so we're finding people that find their own uses for it, which is kind of cool. So it's a neat thing to start. And then we started. So just from that pin, then we went and did we had like some of our brethren that said, hey, I didn't wear it that way on my uniform, but I like the subdued look. Can you make it forward facing? So listening to the customers, we said, we can make a forward facing one, but in that same subdued style. Or just recently, a couple months ago, we launched the full color, red, white, and blue. Still in the rectangular proper dimensions of the flag per U.S. code, still 50 stars, 13 stripes, not dots. So the quality of our manufacturing is high. with the attention to detail that we would expect from the military. And then, being able to offer that, because people said, hey, I want to buy it from you. Do you have a full color version? And then that grew into the tie clips, the cuff links, and then the other products. And then we started, again, after a little bit, we kind of built, I guess, a brand of Assault Forward, and had some folks say, look, I love what you guys are doing, but I don't wear a suit and tie. What do you got for me? And so that's when we launched the hats, the T-shirts, the socks, and kind of the other stuff. So
I like the socks, man. The socks are cool.
A little bit of something for everyone, a little more full product line as we build out the website and what we're doing. And so far so good. People seem to like what we're doing. They appreciate the fact that it is made in America. It's veteran owned and operated, and it's kind of something unique in a way for veterans or patriotic Americans. We're trying to not be exclusive of anybody. If you want to support us and buy our products, we don't want to say you had to be a veteran or anything like that. It's that's kind of the story of how we came up with it and what we've been able to do with it.
I think it's awesome that you use this as a catalyst to have that discussion with the civilian community, right? It's not just because it's more than just the hey, this is the flag I wore. It's like there's you're able to, you have the opening to talk about what the meaning of it. Why does it look reversed, right? And describe, hey, remember when you saw the Patriot or you saw this and they were running forward, or even Blue and Gold or any of the Civil War movies, and that's enough to get people thinking. Okay, that makes sense. It's almost, for a lot of people who aren't used to seeing it, it looks almost like, why is it backwards? And then they realize, no, really, that's the right forward look to have. It's
no, like the words that you use, the phrase that you use, like it's that wonderful conversation starter.
Yeah.
Because it's the because that's what it is.
Right.
It's an opportunity. Like I like subtlety. I personally enjoy subtlety. I'm not the big, let me tell you my DD-214 by what I have on my hat and the brim and around the back and in the back window of my car, like the old DUI stickers as we used to call them. Like I'm a guy that believes in subtlety, but that's a beautiful piece of subtlety. It's actually part of your ensemble. It's part of your apparel. It is not precocious, because my wife and I joke about it all the time. She's like, "You'll never be a hat wearer," because I live in a very military or veteran friendly area, and there's some pretty precocious military hats, and I'll never be that guy.
But I like my veteran outdoors hats.
Yeah, well, that's cool, and that's cool.
The Scoop Creek outfit. But
that subtlety is good, and there's a lot of people, and I believe the majority of the veteran community share the same sentiment I share.
Yeah.
They're happy to have that conversation. They're happy to bridge the gap, but they're not trying to beat you in the face with the flag.
Right.
And when I say flag, I don't mean the American flag. I mean the flag or the symbol of their service.
Right.
They're not trying to hey, thank me for my service. Here's this thing on my ensemble that means that you need to thank me. You need to
Yeah, they're not trying to be like they're from Range 15.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. But it's the American flag pin, lapel pin is pretty common. I wear a lot of sport coats in my work. I wear them. I have a pretty big collection of sport coats. I always make sure I have a number of American flag pins, and I wear them on there, and it's pretty standard, and I think people almost expect it. I want to get a couple of these because I want to put that on there because I think it's going to cause people to take that pause. It's going to look at it. That it's kind of grayscaled, right? It's not really red, white, and blue, and it looks backwards, for lack of a better term. I wear sport coats all the time at church and all that stuff. I think it's going to cause people to say, "That's interesting. Where'd that come from?" Or what's? I think, and I'm assuming that's what you guys hear back from people, if not hear yourself. With that, I imagine you got to hear the same kind of stuff, Joe. People probably just you make them pause for just 5 seconds to ask a question. Can you hear us?
Yeah, I'm losing a little bit.
Okay. Hopefully it's getting better. Are you getting better? Is it better?
Yeah, I think that's okay there. So,
okay.
Yeah, and I think I appreciate the subtlety discussion there too, because I think that's a key point of what we were going for. And what it enables you to do is get asked a question about it and then open up if you want to, or if you just want to, be subtly about it. Again, it's not kind of flashy. It's not kind of the waving red, white, and blue gold rimmed one that the politicians wear to, as kind of like you said, you don't know if they believe in it. I mean, it's kind of like it's become a false symbol of patriotism to just hide behind the flag in a way, and we want to put it out there in a different way. And that was what I think through that and finding out how people were relating to it and using it is what kind of empowered us to start our give back mission. Obviously, as a veteran-owned operated company, we felt it was important to support our fellow veterans and figure out a way to do that. As we're starting out, we're just kind of like open to ideas and suggestions. And obviously, there's a lot of great veteran causes, veteran suicide or other things you could get behind. And what we found from stories from customers is they said, "Hey, I wore that pin during an interview, and it opened up a conversation about my service in the interview, and it helped me land a job." And we're like, "Wow, that's cool. Like that, that makes us feel good. If our pin helped you get a job, great." And so what we found is that transitioning veterans, young troopers that are getting out of the military, not old dogs like you that did 20 plus years, but young guys.
He's talking about you. He's talking about you. He's talking about you.
But young guys that are just going out, first time maybe even in their life wearing a suit and tie, but they're trying to get a job. And they're exiting the military, they're interviewing for positions, and they're trying to figure that out. And what we know, I was in for 8.5 years, and when I got out, I took all that junk off my uniform, and I was like, man, who am I? Because you're used to telling the story of your service through those badges, ribbons, patches, whether you've got a combat patch or an EIB or a CIB or whatever. And so, like, how do you share the story of who you are and what you did in the military when you're in civilian attire? And so we're like, dude, if this is helping transitioning veterans, like, land jobs, like, that's it. That's our give back mission. So that's become part of our company now, is that we give pins to veterans that are transitioning out of the military. And not only are we as a company donating pins now, and the more we sell, obviously, the more we can give, but we added it as like an item on our website. You can donate a pin to a transitioning veteran. And we've had customers getting in on that now, and they'll just add that to their order, and we'll give that pin to a veteran on their behalf then and thank them, for their donation. So it's been kind of a cool thing for us to kind of come up with a natural cause that our product supports and that we as a company now can get behind and help those transitioning troops, whether they're soldiers, sailors, airmen, Marines, Coast Guardians, whatever, help them land that job.
See, I absolutely love that. And one of the reasons I love that, the greatest challenge facing our transitional guys, right, and gals, is the lack of noble purpose. And, by allowing them to still have that moniker, to still have that homage to what they were, they still hold that noble purpose, right, that they feel that they're lacking. The greatest challenge and the biggest enemy that we have in, like, especially OEF community is that lack of, you go from being this terrorist hunter, this freedom fighter, this whatever your job set, whatever your theater of operations was, to being like, I'm now the mail clerk guy, I'm now this. But by having that, you still are part of something. You still have that attachment, that tangible connection to noble purpose. And when we get our transitioning guys and gals to realize, like, the next calling, right, the next part of their life, in honesty, the military and the military experience is training for real life. And I get it, like, people are like, well, I was in combat. Well, good for you, bud. So are we. But, like, parenthood's a more noble calling. There's other callings that you need to be out there, and you need that connection. And I love that. I love how you guys are doing that. I really appreciate it, because the easiest way to defeat a lot of the problems we have right now is allowing people to feel like they still are part of something. There's a lot of Jeep owners out there that, wave to each other. They got the Jeep wave, right? All Jeep owners wave at each other, and then, they got to trade in that Jeep, and they get that minivan, and they get that minivan, and, like, they're like, oh,
nobody's waving at them.
And no one's waving at them. Like, they still need.
And part of it for us was countering that narrative of the damaged combat veteran. You talk about, well, it's great you served in combat, now what? And it's like, I think that's the perception, though, that some civilian, either, HR hiring folks might have, or just Joe on the street might have about the combat veteran who's wearing that graphic military T-shirt. Is like, oh, cross the street, stay away from him, damaged goods,
Right.
Yeah.
They can't do anything else after combat. And, for me, I was very lucky when I left the military. My wife was working for the federal government down in Waco, Texas.
Yes.
And so when it was time for me to leave the military after my 3rd year-long deployment, I came home physically and mentally whole, but kind of said, hey, I think I'm ready for the next chapter. I said, where do you want to go? She said, well, I'll get transferred to D.C. You find a job there. And I did. And so my transition story is uniquely smooth. I was able to come get a civilian job, was hired by a former Army veteran, so he kind of understood where I was at in the process when I said, hey, I'd love to get a job, but I'm not ETSing until 21 July, and this is April. Can you hold the spot for me? And he was kind of cool with that. I was like, hey, I'm going on terminal leave, but I'll start, before, it was like, all right,
Double dipping. Double dip.
Best thing you can do, especially when you're going into a sales job like me and you're going to be earning commission. That double dipping helped cover me until I started earning those commission checks.
Love it.
But that was, my story, again, is uniquely smooth in getting out of the military and getting a civilian job. I understand that that's not the path for everybody. My last year in the military, I had the privilege of commanding Bravo Battery of 282FA for our year in Mosul, Iraq. And out of the 125 soldiers I commanded, I'm probably friends on Facebook with 110 of them. And, I've watched their stories of transition, whether they've been able to get jobs as truck drivers, prison guards, and a lot of other wide variety of jobs and skill sets and some of their struggles, whether it's been with PTSD or it's been with relationships or alcohol or whatever. I understand that not everybody has the same journey and the same path post-military. And what we're trying to do in a little way, and we're just getting started, but we're just trying to be a little piece of that narrative that wear our pin, take pride in your service, tell your story, and take pride in that story of what you did in the military and how that is a skill set that is transferable to the rest of your civilian life. Because, brother, you went in at 18, 19 years old, served 4 years, maybe 2-3 years in combat, 5 years, you got out at 23, 24. You've got 75 more years to live the rest of your life. You're going to live a long time. You got to do some great stuff after the military, but take what you learned about, being accountable, being on time, being on target, being in the right uniform, being prepared, being able to persevere. And, I'm sorry your truck got blown up yesterday. Guess what? You're going back out today. And just overcoming the obstacles and adversity. And I can say all that because for that whole year in Iraq, I didn't touch my howitzers. We were just patrolling Mosul and MRAPs as a motorized infantry company because they didn't really need us shooting the big guns. So we were just a battle space owner like any other infantry company. And so, those missions, though, and what we did kept on trucking that whole year, you absolutely can apply that to the rest of your life and take those lessons learned and those good, positive things that people, feel about the military. Absolutely take that and run with it, man. If that helps you get your foot in the door, that is a part of your story. It's who you are. You've earned it, and run with it.
It's interesting you mention that, right? Transition's near and dear to a lot of our hearts. I mean, I still work and talk to a lot of my old soldiers. I counsel and talk to soldiers that were never my soldiers, but I've done to know them through the years, right? Mm-hmm. And something, transition for what it is, and sometimes it's been good, sometimes it's been bad. But one thing I try to, you hit on a number of soft skills and applicable skills in the civilian world that, but some things a lot of people miss is, and I tell people, I'm like, look, you can talk about handling high stress situations and duress and being accountable and dealing with personnel conflict. Your peers in your age group have no idea, right? You've had to deal with between dealing with the sheikh or dealing with an ANP and a Pakistani, and you're trying to keep her from shooting them and this and that, or you're trying to deal with a contractor and he's wanting to get paid for the gravel he brought, or any number of things, right? That all these secondary and tertiary skills that you picked up or just naturally developed in maybe a combat situation, maybe it wasn't combat, but just in the military in general, are all applicable to the civilian world, right? That the others don't have to deal. And
100%.
It's those kind of things that I try to counsel people on, to say, put that frame that in your resume, frame that in your opening executive summary that, you handle high stress situations and have been responsible for multi-million dollars of stuff, and frame it in the civilian sector makes a big difference. And
that's been one of the most fun parts of starting Assault Forward as a veteran kind of brand that's out there, is we're getting folks reaching out to us in the DMs on, we're probably biggest on Instagram and Facebook, but we get the DMs though from folks, young guys that are thinking about the military. What branch should I go into? What MOS should I take? And then you get the folks that are transitioning, because that's kind of been a little bit more of who we are, and our story is that we're veterans that transitioned out. And then you get guys that are of previous eras of conflict that reach out and say, I've been looking for this pin, or I want one of each. We get these touching stories of the guy who's a tour guide on the battleship out in Honolulu, and he's looking for this set of pins. He bought one of each direction. He's got it on each side of his USS Missouri hat or whatever he's wearing out there. We're like, that's awesome. If we were able to scratch that itch and solve a problem for him and any other veterans, and help them tell the story of what it means when the flag's facing that way, about how they were charging into battle. Hopefully you probably figured out that's where we took our name from, Assault Forward.
Yeah, it kind of came pretty clear.
Always advance, never retreat, Assault Forward. And we're like, hey, why don't we use that? Then the guy the assaultforward.com was taken. And so we reached out and said, hey, you're not using this website, could we do it? And he said, sure, pay me $60,000. And we said, well, I think assault4.us is a good website. We'll go to assault4.us.
I love it.
And if anybody's not familiar with registering an internet domain, to have a .us extension, you have to prove that you're a U.S.-based business.
Yep.
Which, of course, we are 100%, U.S. made in America products, veteran-owned and operated, U.S.-based. So we said assault4.us, that would be a good website. We'll go with that, and we've been running with that ever since.
A couple things I want to cover. One, we have a question from the chat, and I want to add on to. You mentioned Pearl Harbor Navy. One is that, do you have any thoughts on making the Navy Jack flag? But I want to add on to that the Gadsden flag, the Join or Die flag, any of those other patriotic, maybe even the Betsy Ross flag, right?
Whoa. Why you got to go there, homie?
That's the one that's come up most recently. We've gotten a few pings on that, like, hey, now you guys need to do a Betsy Ross flag. Look, we recognize that we're in business, and we're a for-profit company. We want to make this thing grow. We're proud to say that we're coming up on our 2-year mark here. We have not taken a dollar out of the business yet. We're reinvesting every single dollar we make into growing our company, growing the product line, and growing what we're doing, so that we can donate more pins to help transitioning veterans. So we're not in it to make ourselves rich yet.
Well, I'm going to give you another venue real quick, another output. So I'm out of Buffalo, New York, is where I normally live, and we have a store up there that has become really popular. It's called the Made in America store. It started, and they have one in Niagara Falls right on our side of the border from Canada. The number of people that come over from Canada to buy stuff there is out of this world. But if you get a chance, if you don't have it, I suggest you reach out to them. The owner's great, and they all they do, and they bring businesses that do nothing but make stuff in America, and they sell their stuff, and it is widely popular. They ship stuff all over the world.
I'm gonna one up him, because I believe in that. There's a Made in America conference coming up that Tommy Lauren is
from Blaze.
From Blaze and Fox is she's one of the speakers at. It was just announced on Instagram yesterday. It's a Made in America conference, and they're looking for Made in American companies. You guys fit the bill. You need to participate in that. I think that's a whole different platform. And
yeah, I think that any opportunity we have, and we have an opportunity to get face to face with folks, we love it, because people they touch and feel the T-shirt I'm wearing here, Made in America T-shirt. They go, wow, that's so soft, or they see the socks and they go, oh, those are awesome. The cool socks are kind of fun right now, so people are loving our socks and stuff like that. So yeah, we love opportunities to get in front of people. Just in case any of your audience is listening from the Fort Meade area, we'll be at the Fort Meade PX Friday, Saturday, Sunday this weekend.
I'm at the fort all the time. Yep. I'm out there now.
So we'll be at the Fort Meade PX on Main Post there Friday, Saturday, Sunday. They got those tables where vendors set up.
Yeah.
We'll be right outside the GameStop by the main entrance of the PX. So
right down from Charlie's. Right down from Charlie's. It's right down that way.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Yeah, it's always right down from Charlie. But anybody on Fort Meade or in the area that can stop by and see us, we'll be set up there starting bright and early tomorrow morning through close of business on Sunday night.
So are you in the DC area yourself, Joe?
We are, yeah. We're Maryland based, but just outside DC. So we
I'm with you.
we go into DC all the time. We've been privileged to have some space to work out of at the Veterans in Residence program sponsored by WeWork and Bunker Labs. So we've had some cool opportunities to get into the DC veteran entrepreneur community and really get growing and building from there.
And where's Bunker Labs founded out of?
Chicago.
Chicago? No,
I don't think so.
He said. Joe said Chicago.
I guess
I'm in. I focus on my company's business, and I focus on all of our federal business. I'm in DC almost once a month. I'll be there in a couple of weeks. I'm going to reach out to you. I love to link up in person. I am in Maryland. I'm up at the fort quite a bit.
Well, I see you guys are sipping on the bourbon and the whiskey tonight. We'd certainly love to have one of those with you.
Oh, well.
A little Ranger Up glass, actually.
Ranger Up glass. Texas Standard.
So, but to go back to the original question, I mean, we are, from a veteran entrepreneur standpoint, what we're trying to do is de-risk the process and grow slowly over time. We're not on anybody else's timeline. We haven't taken outside investment where we owe anything to anybody.
I love that.
We're trying to add products in a smart and deliberate manner. So if we see kind of the swell of interest around something, we will absolutely look into it and see what we can do. And if we think we can move it, we're happy to sell it because that only helps us advance our cause and our mission.
Yeah. No, hey, and I implore you, stay true to your roots. There's a lot of companies out there, a lot of companies that have actually been mentioned tonight that would like to think that they're American owned or that they're veteran owned. They might have started that way and they're not that way. And like the fact that you guys haven't taken outside investment, the fact that y'all are staying true to each other, staying true to what you believe is super important. Because there's a lot of companies that cannot say that. I appreciate business, and I understand if a good deal comes in front of you, sometimes you need to take it. But sometimes, like when your message is such, your message needs to needs to remain such. Yeah. And I love what you guys doing. I love it as a concept. I definitely think you guys need to reach out to the American Made Conference that's coming out. And you guys need to be there. I think that'll be a game changer. It'll be a level changer for you for sure.
Yeah. Well, hey, saltforward.us is the website. You guys are on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, all the socials. Yeah. Is there anywhere else that people can find you guys? Other outputs or other places they can find you?
Yeah, all of our social media is at AssaultFWD. So all across all platforms, Instagram, Twitter, LinkedIn, Pinterest, Facebook, all that is just at AssaultFWD. And then assaultforward.us is the website. Really, we're doing as many pop-up shops and opportunities as we can. So, we'll be at Meade this weekend. Next Friday, we'll actually be down in San Antonio at the Grunt Style Social.
Hey, I'll be there.
He'll be there.
I'll be there.
Yes.
So we will. We're going to be Grunt Style has graciously invited us to come down and exhibit. So they're going to set up a table, and we'll be selling our stuff at the Grunt Style Social next Friday.
I will see you in person there next Friday.
I will look forward to that.
All right, that's awesome.
So we're doing a ton of stuff. Anytime we get invited to do a great show like this with our fellow veterans, that's what it's all about.
Bush League.
You
said. Anytime we get to do a Bush League show with Bad Connection.
Yeah, we just came back from Florida yesterday. We were down. We had an opportunity to connect with a fellow veteran who's doing a videography company, and he's like, you guys need like a 1-minute explainer video, promo video for your website, for social media.
Yeah, elevator pitch.
He's like, come down, we'll shoot it for you. He's a former naval special warfare guy, and now his motto is I shoot people, but now it's with a camera.
Oh, I dig it. I dig it.
So Images by Law is his social media handle, but. He's a great dude, but fun. Anytime we have to work with fellow veterans, help tell our story, help tell their story, it's all about the community and giving back at this point. I feel like I had a blessed military career, to have served three years in combat, over 1,000 days is the way I like to tell it. It sounds cooler. So 1,000 days in combat, being a light fighter with the 10th Mountain Division, climb to glory, or all the way down to Mosul, Iraq with the 1st Cav and the 1st team there.
First team.
And Steel Dragons, leading with the Steel Dragons there. We did great things. We did great work. I think we made a difference in the places we serve and the people we touch. And a lot of soft skills, come out of that. And I know that I'm a better person for having done that experience. And if we can help a few veterans take pride in their service, share the story of their service, connect with their fellow veterans, all of that is just, gravy on top. It's just
Absolutely.
like, oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, awesome. Well, hey Joe, that was great, man. I think we've if there's anything else you want to put out to our listeners, now is the time to do it. We definitely got the site out there, assaultforward.us. Assault Forward's right below you. People are watching can see your Twitter handle, and it's all your handles right there. Anything else you want us that we haven't brought up or you want to mention to our viewers and listeners before we let you go?
No, but we're always happy. If you found us through here, man, just use the discount code military, and we'll take a little bit off your order. If you go to our website, use just discount code military at checkout, and we'll be happy to give you a little discount at checkout for listening in on this, and letting 3 veterans just basically have a conversation like we would over drinks at the bar, and just ramble and rap on the topics of the day, whether it's the Soldier's Medal, the fairness of the award system.
Yeah, I dig it, man.
All that good stuff. That's just what it is. It's swapping stories, common experiences, and making a connection, and that's what we're all about at Assault Forward.
That's that's we've been doing a show a long time, and whether it's a couple of months ago we had Dale Dye, a famous actor who's been in every war movie since Platoon, or
consulted on every war movie.
Or consulted. Craig Morgan, country recording artist, Panama vet. It doesn't matter who it is. They always say the same thing. It's the most comfortable interview. They feel like they're just sitting around shooting shit and just talking, and that's the way we like to do it. We just kind of go with the flow, and we just like talk about it. We want to help put you, and your story's great, and big props to my wife who found you guys.
Yeah.
Awesome. I'm glad for the military code. I'm going to get some. Like I said, we're a lot of
you heard it here
codes.
first.
Yeah, military right there.
So apologize for the technical difficulties.
I think
happens.
happens.
A little bit of a storm here in Maryland, which knocked out my internet. So if you can't tell behind me, I jumped over to my good neighbor and friend. He's got this bar set up in his carport.
Look at that grill. Look at that grill. Look at that grill in the back. That's what I'm talking about.
We call it the bar port. Affectionately called the bar port. And so this is where. But I've got his Wi-Fi code. So I was like, dude, I'm just gonna jump the fence, hop over to the neighbor's bar port. As veterans, we always accomplish the mission, right? We find a way to accomplish
adapt and overcome. That's right. Adapt and overcome, right there.
Love it. Keeping up the assault forward. So
love it.
Well, yeah. So you're going to see Toby in a week.
I'll see you in a week.
You're going to see him in a week. I'm going to see you next time I'm in DC, which is in a few weeks. I want to link up and maybe come over to your neighbor's house and check out his bar.
Yeah. I heard it's a good bar.
Yeah. All right, Joe. Thank you so much.
Done.
Awesome. All right, brother. We'll talk to you later, man. Good talking to you. We're going to stay in touch.
Cheers.
And we'll talk to you. Good night. Have a good night. Bye-bye. All right, everybody. There you go. That's Joe from Assault Forward right there. Check him out, man. What a great story. I mean,
I do admire the fact that he swung over onto his neighbors.
Yes,
that's pretty pimp.
It's like
I dig it.
I got his Wi-Fi code. I got a
backup. He said secondary.
Yeah.
And then he was like
my fallback position.
And then he came clean. He was like black and gold. The black and gold. I love it.
That's it. But anyway, hey everyone, thanks to Josh or Joe. I mean, of course, Josh is one of the business partners, but Joe, of course, for coming in, giving us some of his Thursday evening. Thanks to all of you for letting us come into your homes and on your screens and in your ears to talk. Sorry for some of the stuff up front, but that's the way it is. I mean, if we didn't have a little bush leagueness every once in a while, every show can be perfect. It wouldn't be the same.
It wouldn't be the same.
Every show can be perfect, right? One day when we get a big production studio and we get all that, and we have commercials and all that stuff, it may be different, but you get what you pay for.
Look forward to some live tomorrow night.
Tomorrow night. We are together like we are tonight, but in a different context.
Different context.
With some of our fans from the show.
Some of our fans. So pre-apologies for bad behavior.
Yes, Mom, I'm sorry. It's Toby's fault.
I have no one to apologize to. So.
Everyone have a good night. Thank you all so much. We're looking forward to a great night tomorrow night.
And I'm gonna put some Stu's meat in my mouth.
Yes, for Sarah Lee,
Yeah.
who always embarrasses me and blushes me over my jerky. Some of my closest friends who think they can do stuff, they tell me that I make the best jerky. Stu's meat. You can't buy it in the store. It only comes from being a close friend.
And it's gonna go in my mouth.
And it's going in his mouth. And with that being said, we are out. Everyone have a good night. Love you all. Keep an eye on our Facebook page tomorrow night. We are going to be doing live streams. Probably the later in the night, the worse it's going to get.
Yeah.
I'm not sure.
Tune in early.
Yes. Yeah, tune in early for the G, PG. It kind of goes up. It starts at G and works its way up there. While the kids are up, you can tune in early. When it gets later, make sure they're in bed.
Tune in early.
And all that. Everyone have a good night. Thank you for tuning in to Stu and the Nunn. Be sure to join us next Thursday. We are when I say racked and stacked, we're like a J-Tac. We're like a J-Tac who's at the only ticking theater. We've got every bomber and every fast mover racked and stacked waiting to strike. We've got guests lined up, I think, for almost 3 months out now. We got no shortage of guests. So be sure and tune in. Stay tuned to StuandTheNunn.com Thursday nights, 8 p.m. Eastern, right here. And with that, everyone, you have a great night, and we will talk to all of you later. Why is my music not playing?
Oh.
We are going Bush League again. Oh, it helps when I turn it up. There we go.
Thank you for joining us for another episode of Stu and the Nunn Radio. We hope you enjoyed your time with us because we've enjoyed sharing our time with you. Be sure to check out StuandTheNunn.com in addition to asking us questions and interacting with us on our Facebook page and Twitter. We look forward to seeing you next Tuesday at 8 p.m. Eastern here on Spreaker and Facebook Live. Also, we'd like to thank our sponsors, Warrior Media Solutions, Whoever.com, Veteran Outdoors, Great Beard Publishing, and Mighty Oaks Warrior Foundation. Don't forget to like our Facebook page and follow us on Twitter. Thank you again, and have a good night.